Bitcoin on the weekly chart comparing 2018 descending triangles versus 2022 descending triangles. On the weekly chart, you can see in front of you clearly, I've already pre-marked a similar type of looking move, right? So descending triangles, do they break down? Well, a little bit more than breaking to the upside, but most patterns usually have about a 50% chance of going your way. At best case, maybe you can hope for 60% or so. Okay, so no pattern is perfect, no chart is perfect, no indicator is perfect ever. If anyone ever says something's 100% accurate or always going to do this, run the other way. So let's get to looking at the differences and compare them. We've seen this across social media, right? We're in a descending triangle. We're about to have this snapshot, right? We're about to go into a blood waterfall, right? Are we going to do that again? Well, let's look at the evidence for bulls and bears and see why this happened potentially, and could we be doing that again? Well, of course, anything could happen. So if you're too deterministic on anything, you're already in the wrong boat. Be open-minded as much as possible and follow the data as it presents itself. So let's look at the differences between now and then. On the chart, right, they already look pretty similar just from the naked eye, right? It's hard to argue that that's not at least somewhat of a rhyme, right? Okay, so now let's start to introduce things that maybe make it a little bit different, okay? So let's first and foremost look at volume, right? How about volume back then? So starting at our base, roughly, right? Look at the average line here, right? What do we notice? The buys and sell, right? The buy the volume, the sell volume are getting lower, right? Here's your average, right? The blue line is the moving average of volume. So that is falling at the same time, right? We're making lower highs and lower highs and lower highs, right? So interest is running out. Now, what do we have about this one? Well, we had our massive sell volume before this, right? Our massive sell volume initially, right? And our massive sell volume initially as we're falling down the stairs. So from our base, right, where we start to form the descending triangle, right? You want to, for descending triangle, you have to have a relative flat base and lower highs, right? And over a time period that you're looking at, right? So this is the weekly, right? Not the daily, not the 4 hour, the weekly chart. Now look at the volume, right? Just on that fact alone, you could say that this is starting to look a little bit different, right? Whether or not that means anything, right? You can interpret what you want, but for these patterns to rhyme, right? If we were doing something similar to this, then we could surely expect something similar to that, right? But I beg you to open your eyes and see that this is not the same as this. Not only is volume increasing, but look at the amount of volume, right? This is, I would argue at least double the volume of back here, right? Different markets for sure. And it just, enough said, right? The volume is drastically different now versus then. Now, why did we also fall down here? Well, besides the volume running out, and you might say, well, look at the volume spike here, right? Why did that happen? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's take off the volume and let's put on our moving averages. Now what do we see? Do we see any similarities here? This is also another step where they start to lose similarities, right? We closed a weekly candle. Let's go back and zoom in here, right? We closed a weekly candle underneath the 100-week EMA. That's a major earthquake coming, right? That's a radar wake up siren. I don't insert your favorite adjective there. So that is another reason why we did that. You might say, well, we just closed the weekly candle lower than we had before. And well, I agree with you. Well, why didn't we do it right here? Right? Why didn't we do it right here? Yeah. That was the lowest close we've had. That was the lowest close we've had. Consecutive weekly closes lower than it had closed before. So it should have done it then, right? Wrong. That is the moving average. And when you close a major moving average on the weekly chart, smart money has stop losses in place, and that is what causes this cascade effect. It's in the order books, and it just rip to the downside, right? It's not necessarily that people running to their computers and hitting the sell button, right? They're already in there, and it's a trigger effect, and it just rolls quick, right? And that's what you get. And then where do we find our footing? Right at the 200 EMA, where smart money would logically have been buying back then. So Now, fast forward to today. Do we have any major moving averages we're on the verge of breaking? No, we're already well the hell underneath them, right? As you should be well aware of by now. So those are the differences. The similarities, yeah, they're both descending triangles loosely based. I would argue this one because, I mean, we have, if you zoom in here, like, where's your bottom? This is not a solid bottom or anything. We don't have multiple candle closes down here. We have like maybe one, right? That's our lowest weekly candle close right there. Everything else is just a wick at best, right? And wicks just tell you where the price went during that week. So, yeah, you could say, right, a lot of people have compared these two and think that we're gonna do this. So I figured I'd make this video to try to help some of those people that are a little bit newer and can realize that, yeah, they are descending triangles, but A, they don't always work out to the downside. B, they are a little different now, right? We have much different volume, and we're already well below moving averages, key moving averages. And I would agree that we could get something similar to that if we have a weekly close underneath this wick. If we close under 17.5, roughly, I would say then you have a case to be made. Until that happens, your case may not get made, right? So just realize where we are. The differences are a little bit striking based on the simplistic volume chart. All right, I'll end it there. Have a great weekend. Let me know what you think. Do you think we're getting ready to do this? Why or why not? Do you think we're getting ready to rip to the upside? Why or why not? Do you think we're going sideways? You don't have to put why or why not. Just say down, up, sideways, whatever. Hopefully you find this helpful, a little bit mildly entertaining with my retarded humor, and I will see you on the next video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Telegram, if you want to do that, kudos. I'll see you on the next video.